Hey everybody, it's Anthony from ComicsHeatingUp.net. I'm doing my Baltimore Comic-Con Day 2 wrap-up. Now, Day 2 will be my final day in Baltimore. I only usually do Friday and Saturday. Sunday, I usually have baseball games and all. And this year, with New York Comic-Con being back-to-back with Baltimore Comic-Con, I figured, what the heck, I'm going to take a day and spend it with the family since I'm going to be on the road. First up, I want to say hi to Jamie Strange. Jamie came up, was one of the people who came up to me and said hi. Very nice to meet you, Jamie. It was cool to hang out and talk with you. Thank you for your help at the CGC booth. This was my first time submitting to CGC in probably 15 years. I've been CBCS guy for the past 5 years since CBCS opened, but with all their delays and everything that's been going on, I switched over to CGC. I did submit my Batman 181 book. It was kind of a challenge. There was no line when I went up, but it was definitely, it was kind of a problem. They have the iPad system set up. For whatever reason, I was having nothing but difficulty, even though I use iPads frequently, and I'm a Mac guy myself and an Apple guy. So that was interesting, but I finally got my Batman 181 submitted, and it's fast passed and on its way. So I look forward to getting it back. I think it's about a 4.5, which is not, a super high grade, but such a great book that's still like a $500 book in that grade. Also want to say thanks again to Scout Comics. I was walking around all week with James Pruitt's ID on. I had his con badge. Scout hooked me up with a badge, but they didn't get one in my name, which was funny. So I ended up using James Pruitt. So a lot of people came up to me and introduced themselves because they thought I was James, and I kind of had to say, sorry, I'm not James. I'm just wearing his badge. But that was pretty funny, especially from people who knew James, like his brother Joe, who kept telling the same joke that I was his younger, uglier, less genetically gifted brother. So that was funny. It was a good joke. Also want to say thank you to Jason Powell. Jason Powell I've known for quite a few years now. He's a great artist. He's a great writer. He did Suicide 5, which was a Kickstarter that we promoted a while back, and he also did Pinpricks. I stopped by his booth, saw him and his daughter, and he gave me a copy of the Kickstarter book Pinpricks. Really appreciated it. It's personalized, and things like this mean more to me than any comic that I own. I just love to help people, and we helped get this Kickstarter funded, and it's really great when creators are just so gracious and so nice to you. And like I said, Jason's a great guy, and I've known him for a couple of years now, so always glad to stop by his booth and see him. Also, John Byrne messaged me on ComicsHeatingUp.net and told me to stop by his booth, said he'd hooked me up with copies of The Couch, which is his self-published comic that he does. Thank you for that. We're going to get into it. We're going to have a giveaway actually this week on Free Comic Book Wednesday, which we run Tuesday night. Thanks to John. Now, John's also part owner of Gotham's Finest Comics, and they were just super cool. We sat and talked comics for a while. So if you stop by ComicsHeatingUp.net Tuesday night and look for Free Comic Wednesday, we're giving away a 9.8 signed copy of The Couch #1. This is double signed actually by John Byrne and the artist Matt McGill. So we'll have that. And since Batman's junk is so in the news lately, they also provided a Batman D-in-a-Box sketch, which will go to the winner. So the winner of that Tuesday night drawing will have the 9.8 graded comic, as well as the D-in-a-Box drawing. Now, it was a lot busier on Saturday than it was Friday. Saturday was much more crowded. There's a lot more people buying comics. Noticed just comics being sold like crazy. Still more Batman Damned selling. Everybody I talked to said they were just selling Batman Damned even at the higher prices that they're going for. And a lot of the retailers also said even though Friday had less people, Friday was a good day because retailers could walk around and buy stock. So retailers were going from dealer to dealer buying stock because next week is New York Comic Con, and with those being so close together, retailers need stuff to sell it at New York, not only Baltimore. So while there weren't as many people Friday, there was a lot of retailer to retailer sales going on, which is always a good thing. Walking Dead books could be found extremely cheap. Even slabs. I found Walking Dead slabs for 20 bucks or less. I also talked to a lot of artists, and I always enjoy talking to artists. One of the artists that I stopped by and talked to and had to get a signing done by her was Jenny Frizen. I got quite a few comics for $1 a piece. I found a bunch of Jenny's comics for $1 a piece and had them signed up. these are always good flips. I hate to say it. The Frisson covers are gorgeous, and they sell really well. Signed, you know, it's just a nice thing to have done. She was cool. She signed them, no problem. There was no charge for signatures or anything. She had her own booth set up. She had great art books as well as prints set up. So it was nice to talk to her, but it was also nice to, you know, just check out the stuff that she had. I also stopped by and talked to Pat Shand. He's the writer of Little Girl. He had copies for sale. He was signing copies. You know, I talked to him, told him how much I love the book. I really love creepy little girl stories, The Ring, The Grudge, that kind of stuff. He was very thankful, just signed off copies, handed them to me. It was really cool. I stopped by Frankies Comics again. A special thank you to Kevin Fields and Jessica Fields. They were most gracious to me. Scon was there, so I got a copy of the Venom #5 Scon cover, signed by Scon. Do love getting signatures at conventions. My big purchase for the weekend was Gore Shriek #1. This is Greg Capullo's first comic, as also Gore Shriek #1 Volume 2. Man, I love horror comics, and these were great old Fantagore comics out of the late 80s, mid 80s, and they're just brutal, and they were just great comics, and they're hard to find. #1, Volume 1 being Greg Capullo's first published work ever. You know, I walked by, flashed it to him, and he gave me a big smile because he always likes seeing them. Wasn't a lot of flip-worthy stuff that I picked up. Man, Battle Angel Alita was just selling out. Richard Guzman, it was just, he's another YouTuber. He was just pulling them out hand over fist. He was beating me to booths, and I texted him at one point. It's like, man, leave some for me. But he pretty much cleaned out the con of them at $1 a piece or so. I know Mel got a couple as well. But I did pick up another X-Men Legacy 253. These have been easy flips for me. I've been selling them like crazy for the past week or so. I mean, every time I put one up, they go. I know a lot of people don't like to mess with the racier comics, but I picked up a bunch of Tarot early issues, 15, 17, and 18. They were $3 a piece. Tarot, the early issues, I can flip so easy. There's always buyers looking for Tarot. Books like Tarot, Cave Woman. Normally smaller print run because they're the more mature titles, but I have no problem selling them on eBay. And the final thing I picked up was Burn Man. This is an Ashcan by Sean Karunuru. It was a pretty cool book. It was a 66-page graphic novel that I was flipping through. He was cool. He handed me the first chapter. It's a 10-page like newsprint Ashcan. He was really cool to talk to. The book looked really good. Con ends at 7, so I was able to actually rush off, being so close to Camden Yards, and catch the second half of a doubleheader with my kids. So I really enjoyed not only being in Baltimore for the con, but turning around, going to the ball game, enjoying some hot dogs and a couple of beers. So anyway, that's it from Baltimore Comic Con. This is Anthony. Thank you for watching. As always, remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Thanks. We'll see you next week.